All right. Bots here. No cold intro. We're just going to make Oblivious talk all night. Go.
There we go.
I get
That's
around.
a good formula.
That is what we're learning from these checkpoints on Discord.
Do we need to restart, Craig? It's got 155 millisecond latency.
I don't see that.
I'm
What
looking
does
at
that
the
mean?
little dialog box. That's slow. is
because
what that
all my
means.
friends are joining now. So
Oh boy. Is this gonna be like a very special episode?
What did you show?
Now we're at 78
if you look in the
milliseconds.
recording, look in the recording booth.
Yeah, I show
where it has the
78. 81.
Now it's 81. Yeah, no, it dropped.
81.
It dropped, but it's still.
Is it like
it's gone
golf where you
from,
want like a low score, or is it like
yes.
basketball where
It's
you want a
gone
high
from,
score?
shockingly bad to not great. But
It's like
79.
F1 where you want the lowest possible score.
we're just going to call it out all podcast long. What's the score?
Or is it like a QRS complex? You want a narrow one. Like
Or is it
78 is good, but like,
right, what you said.
178, you're getting a BiV pacemaker put in.
Oh,
Okay.
jeez.
Okay.
Sorry.
Or is it
Nerd.
like
I'm a nerd.
Clear.
wait, what's the diabetes number? CQ1, CQC? What is that number?
Hemoglobin A1C. A1C.
Yeah, you want to be below 6.5
Yeah.
to not be diabetic. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we want lower.
Yeah.
And lower is good. Well, it's back up to 99. What the
Uh-oh,
hell?
99.
Wait, who's actually hosting? I just hit start.
I mean, I think Roy should
Everybody
host. I
went
mean, he's
quiet.
the voice for radio.
What? No, oh God.
Those melodious
think-
vocals. I mean,
I think Fred should do it.
Oh,
Well,
there we
that's
go.
probably a better choice.
Go, Fred.
Where did the notes go? Hang on.
Go, Fred.
I have them
Go
open.
notes.
Fred.
We
I
have
had notes open here.
Yeah, notes.
There it is.
Wait, we have notes?
Okay. Well, welcome, folks. Am I
Who's
really
taking
doing
over?
this?
Yes.
You are doing
sure.
it. Get
Yeah.
to work.
Why
But
not?
In charge.
do you want Blooming Wind to do it? Because that would be an
Oh,
epic
God.
disaster. I mean, that's almost like Lark doing it.
Wait,
Actually,
I
be
think
worse
you
than
were
the
ready to
Ooh.
do it right. You asked
Be
how to start the
nice.
show earlier because I think you thought it might be only you.
Yeah, I was getting ready to do the whole like Spalding Gray thing, but when I do host, it's going to be the Spalding Gray thing.
Why is that
All
going
right.
over my head? Who the fuck is
Yeah,
Spalding?
I
Gray?
didn't get it either.
I haven't caught in
Swimming
half
to
the stuff you
Cambodia?
said in
Come
the
on,
last
guys.
30 seconds, but anyway.
That's
Coming
not
to
helping.
Cambodia.
Lark, I mean,
So-
Oblivious, you should
Was
know
that
who he is.
supposed
He's
to
like
help?
All right, let's reel it in. Welcome to the
Well,
312th, episode of the Loose Screws podcast for the 3rd of December, 2025.
3311.
3311. Can't you read, man? Jeez.
Yeah.
All right, I guess I'm your impromptu host, Commander Roy Cookson. And joining me this evening, we have perhaps soon to be emeritus member Chig. Welcome, Chig.
Howdy, I am here.
We also have the illustrious Commander Blooming Wind
Hello, everybody.
and the ever enigmatic Commander Oblivious.
Yeah, I get around.
I'm not going enigmatic. I'm going promiscuous. He is everybody's.
Promiscuous. Ooh.
Your wife lets you date?
Yeah.
In this crazy Discord checkpoint we all got in the last week, you are everybody's best friend, sidekick apparently. But if you were everybody's sidekick, wouldn't everybody else just be your side? You seem to be in the center of the circle. Just asking.
Yeah, I didn't see any centers of the circle, but anyway.
Well, you seem
and
pretty
allergic to
talkative this evening.
penicillin, too. So
You seem pretty talkative this evening. Chig, why don't you kick us out in real life and in game the last week?
It's been a few weeks since I've been on the show. I mean, since before Thanksgiving, and we have more holidays coming up and stuff like in game. I've been, holy crap, Do we have discussion topics? I wish we had notes so I could know what we were going to talk about later, so I don't step
We
on
have notes. We
toes
just haven't
now.
filled them out yet. You know, we're kind of doing it on the fly.
No,
so
they're
by the
all
time we
filled
get there,
out.
we'll hopefully
It's-
have something.
Okay.
Wait,
Okay.
Guys,
we have show
Okay.
notes.
It's a surprise because like I don't want Lave Radio coming along and like scooping us for next week.
Oh,
Is that what it
Or
is?
last
a
week.
worry. That's a
I love
worry.
the fact
Anyway,
that
you were saying,
they
Chig.
do a show before us so that I can scoop them and realize.
Yeah,
that-
but it's a reverse
I
tachyon
am
feed, so they're gonna like
I-
beam into our show and send it back to yesterday.
No, let me just say this.
Only Kiwi can do
Lave
that.
Radio. This is what Lave Radio, listening to Lave Radio makes me realize, and why I think I should probably just quit participating in anything to do with discussing Elite Dangerous is I play a different game.
Ooh.
I just unfortunately play a different game. You know, everybody does things. There's me and Scotty who do just too much stupid shit in this game that we just play so much, and then people start talking about the game, and it's like, well, wait, that's not how that works, or wait, what are you talking about? Makes sense. And a lot of times when I listen to Lave Radio, like unfortunately, the one episode where they talked about CQC, I'm like, guys, what are you guys talking about right now? Because you just don't have the time. Or like this week, they talked about the on-ground changes, and they're talking about how this is good or that is good. And I appreciate people
We'll get to
like
that. We'll get to that this evening.
Alec Turner. Well, I appreciate Alec Turner because he says he just hasn't played it a lot. And like myself, I have more like ground shit in this stupid game than their entire podcast combined. And it's not a shot at them. I'm just like hearing them
Saying
talking
you're kind of
about
a
it,
big
and
deal.
then some of their people jumping in. No, I'm just saying I've played too much of this fucking game, and I play a different game. That's the problem, and that's
Right.
where
And
like
a lot of it.
my problem right now. Why I've skipped podcasts recently, why I took a break a few months ago, is it comes down to the fact where if you guys I've done 200 and some episodes, right? So if there's one thing you've learned, I try to be very pragmatic. I try to stick to the facts and talk about things, and I try to avoid a lot of jumping over. And I fact check myself and everything else. I try to stay as close to the center as I can. And my problem is I've played this game so much that now it's like somebody posts something on Discord or I hear something on our podcast or I hear something on Lave Radio's podcast, and I become the, well, actually guy. You know, I become this pedantic guy. I'm like, well, actually, even if it's really close to the truth, I want to correct one minor little tweak in there. So that's my problem is when I sit and talk with you guys, because we talk about all this stuff, you know, all week in voice and in Discord, and I see what everybody's posting, and it's a lot of times it just gets to the point where I'm just like, I'm not gonna correct anything. Let's just see where this goes, you know. And I just it's become where I don't like myself when I'm watching you guys discuss things, because it's subtleties in the game, and the problem is I've just played too much. And I love flying my ship, and I love, you know, things. But there's our good buddy Adaxius, who decided not to show up tonight. He's a prime example of somebody who will just post shit just to rile people up, and that's not me. I just
And he does a
don't
very
like
good job of
doing
it.
it.
I mean, it's a gift.
Amazing.
Yep.
He's playing a different
We-
game than me when it comes to social
We
media.
tagged it Discord PvP. So
Yes.
Exactly. But why?
I mean,
that's
he's
what I don't
Picasso, and trolling is his palette.
Or that's a good way of doing it. I was going to try to pedantically fix that, you know. Well, actually, and no, you're right. That's a good job. So
Thank you.
Yeah. So and
yeah,
in the last
I've
few
got a
weeks, that's what I've
challenge
been
for
doing.
you, Chig. I got a challenge for
no.
you. Next time you come on, just
Mhm.
everything you say should be bullshit. See if you can get through the entire show. Everything you say is complete bullshit. See how that turns out.
Are you
I
trying
think
to
I
make
could-
him not come back?
I know. I think I could definitely pull that off, but I think it'll be caught very, very quickly. I just think that's the problem with everything social media. And, like people bitch about Reddit. It's because you don't know who's actually trying to rile people up and who's actually asking a legitimate question. Or like they say, if you want a true solution to a problem, post the question that you want answered and then post an incorrect answer right after it from a different account.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Everybody will jump in to correct that incorrect answer rather than just. So how many trolls are doing? Well, no, he said he's a jester, not a troll. I call bullshit. But the thing is that's what happens is if you want a true answer is you learn how to play the game. And the problem is the internet is so full of people that know how to play the game that they're throwing that stuff out there. And I swear to God, when I go on the Frontier forums and somebody asks a question about like exploring and somebody gives them an answer in full authority that, oh, you need to do this. And I'm like, that is, and it's not like, well, actually, it's just factually wrong, but they answers it so confidently that somebody's going to take that advice and then they go forward. It's like was that last night we were in Channel Roy and we were talking about some of this stuff a little bit and like exploration and people talking about, you need 2 AFMUs. Well, you should probably actually go 3. And I'm like, okay, if you're doing 3, you're trolling. 2 is actually, you'll never need 2. My first time exploring, I read that garbage and I went with 2. There's no reason to ever carry 2. Yes, one can repair the other, but if you're out in the black, literally, if something is under 80% and gains a chance of malfunctioning, but it will still function if you have to. So you don't really need multiple. It's going to be the mats for synth thing that is going to be your problem, not the fact that it's malfunctioning. Yeah, it's repaired. It's going to be a little bit easier, but it's things like that become that people just parrot over and over and over again. That is like, let's just pull that back. And that's when I get on the forums, like, they put out a new exploration ship, and obviously I've done a lot of exploration. If I'm 5 in exobio, 5 in exploration, and I've been at those for a long time doing genuine exploration, I've done a ton of it. Now they come out with a new exploration ship and everybody jumps out with their opinions about, it sounds like I'm ranting. I'm ranting. All right. And
I don't want to stop you.
and they
keep ranting.
And people then start posting, well, you need to do this. You need to do this. No, everything about exploration is like everything else in this game. It's a sandbox. It's finding preferences. My preference is a ship that turns really well in Super Cruise and can land on a planet relatively easily, and things like that are the things that are important to me. You get all these people claiming that jump range is number 1, and that they'll do all these things. They're stripping their ships down. Anybody exploring, and I'm not air quoting exploring, I'm going legitimate exploring without at least a bumper shield is an idiot. Because if you're landing on planets and stuff, you're going to take damage if you don't have at least a bumper shield. But people will go exploring without any shield and repair themselves with an AFMU and stuff like this because they need that maximum jump range. Maximum jump range is from getting from point A to point B the fastest. It is not for exploring. Period.
Also a manhood contest in this game. It's like
what?
my ship can jump this far. I mean, it's like a dick measuring contest at the end of the day. And it's, I mean, like seriously, I mean, my Mandalay can jump 84. I could probably strip it all the way down to, its equivalent of a Jumpaconda, but it's useless. It's just, if you have like a 95 or whatever the number is for the optimum maximum jumping Mandalay, it's like, okay, yeah, you can do it. What are you going to do with it besides jump really, really far and say, look how far I jumped? I mean, well, like an 84 Mandalay is useful,
Yes, to get places fast.
Yes.
Or like with the new Caspian, if you're at the edge, you're going around the entire edge of the bubble, up, down, out, east, west, north, everywhere. And you're trying to find random systems you can jump to that nobody has ever been able to jump to with a neutron boost. You're going to find some of those now because this ship can do things that not even a carrier could do, right? But it's a one-way trip unless you find another neutron star out there. So at the end of the day, yes, you're going to find this random stuff, but the amount of time you're spending getting to these locations and finding this and studying that map, that's a different kind of exploration than most people do. If you want to just see your name on stuff, yeah, go ahead.
Chig, may you find some catharsis in tonight's episode, because I think we're going to touch on some things that you'll have a good opportunity to set the record straight on some very important topics that have been maybe controversially misquoted.
But then I sound like a know-it-all prick. Oh, that's nothing new. 200 episodes of that. Never mind. Carry on.
I'll just leave that there. Blooming Wind.
Yes.
What have you been up to this week?
Well, not a lot of flying, to be perfectly honest with you. It's just life's been busy, and I've been trying to figure. Honestly, I've been kind of going through a midlife elite dangerous crisis of not exactly sure what I want to do right now at the moment, because I was doing the CG and the power play CG around the planet with the mushrooms, the glowing jumping mushrooms, and I was mining to acquire, mining to undermine, trying to do all the things, and I took one day. It was Wednesday, and I was almost done, and so I logged on Thursday last week, and I finished filling my hull, and I flew over to the station. I got no merits, and then I was like, "What the hell?" And I was like, "Oh shit, it's Thursday." And then I'm like, "Oh, I'm in the middle of an empty system. We got retreated out." And I was like, "Oh crap!" And so I was like, "Okay, well, I don't feel like doing this power play thing for right now." I know. I should have drank some coffee and played on Wednesday night a little later, but I didn't. So at that point, I was like, do I want to go back out to new Screwspace and work on my colonies? Do I want to help Lark with his colonies? Or do I want to go back to the bubble and kind of mess around in old Screwspace? So,
well, isn't the normal solution for a midlife crisis, you should go buy a fast new ship?
I really should.
Fast new ship, or one that jumps a long way?
Yeah, I could do that. That's a good idea. Maybe I'll buy a new
bragging
ship.
rights.
Well, I also need some mats to engineer it because I'm low on some things. But yeah, that's a good idea. And then in real life, I gave cardiology grand rounds yesterday, and I actually gave the squadron a shout out.
What?
Oh man, that's scary. Yeah. You gave the squadron a shout.
Say more.
Yeah. So anyway, so the topic I picked for my lecture was the management of fainting.
Okay.
So there are patients who they have a problem with fainting. Like everybody faints once or twice, but there's some people where fainting is kind of a recurring problem, and a lot of cardiologists are kind of uncomfortable managing it because they spend most of their time dealing with coronary disease and atrial fibrillation and valve disease and more. And even though fainting is a common problem, 90% of it is patting the person on the head and reassuring them. So anyway, so because of that, since a lot of cardiologists are not as comfortable if patting the patient on the head doesn't work, I decided, okay, guys, get good, noobs. And so, so what I did was I just had a slide of one of our little spaceship cockpits, and I just said, okay, well, you guys are going to, in the parlance of the video game players, y'all are going to get good. And they were most amused. And then they got good.
Okay, good. I was going to ask how that worked for you. So good.
Yeah. So it went well, so that the lecture went well.
How many have joined the squadron? Curiously.
None. None of them play video games. I do tell some of the fellows
so many different directions.
Yeah, no, I do tell some of the fellows when we're doing transesophageal echo. I ask them, I'm like, you play video games? And they're like, not really. I was like, you should, because you need to go get your hands a little better. So, or whatever. Because transesophageal echo is just like a video game.
Wow.
So, you got a screen, you got a controller, and the object of the game is take pretty pictures of somebody's heart. So,
wow.
Today
I learned.
So I try to teach them how to do that, and then some of them got better hands than others. So sometimes some of them
you've never thrown that controller at a wall in a fit of rage.
No, I have not thought about it.
Not today.
usually I get frustrated when we're having some mechanical issues. There were some people that were the people who clean the probes. They were submerging the electronics into the cleaning solution. You're supposed to put like the black part of the probe in, and then they were putting the thing you put in the echo machine, like the plug, and submerge it. It's like all this circuitry, and and at that time, there was a couple times I actually thought about throwing one of the broken probes at the people cleaning them, but I would never do that. I just thought about it. Yeah, I was very frustrated.
Take a bath and make some toast. Yep.
Yes, that's more my thing. And then the other thing that happened this week is that my employer has like a I don't want to call it a Hall of Fame, or I don't know what to. Anyway, so they have this thing they call the Academy for Excellence in Clinical Medicine. And what it is honors exemplary clinicians who combine humanism, professionalism, and passion for patient care with a scholarly approach to patient care. Anyway, so I was nominated for this thing about 4 months ago. And I was accepted into the class of 2026 or 2025 for this thing. And so like my institution, they're like, okay, they're saying this is kind of like your this year's All-Stars or something. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how to think about it. But anyways, it was kind of cool because like it wasn't something I was looking to get or anything like that. But,
congratulations.
Like, well, yeah, you don't suck, so.
You don't suck.
You don't suck.
Is that what was on the plaque? Or you don't suck?
Yeah, that would be great if that was on the plaque. So the induction ceremony's in February, but, hopefully there's a secret handshake involved or something.
If you're suck starting your heart patients, that might be problems.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good at what I do. So anyway, so that was my week.
Okay.
Oblivious's turn.
Let's hear from Oblivious next.
I forgot what I did. Oh yeah, now I remember.
You're old.
Interesting enough, we were talking about people, saying the wrong things very confidently. I played around with Chat GPT and Gemini and Grok, asking Elite Dangerous questions, and that all three of them are extremely good at giving very competent wrong answers. In fact, one of them kept reminding me of a couple of individuals in our Discord. It was so close. I figured that's what they built their LLM models off of. But that's kind of fun. Yeah, try that everyone. Some of the stuff's good, but some of the stuff is just completely off the wall. But the way it puts it out there, it's so eloquent. It sounds great.
Now, there was a thing that happened. My mother-in-law called us up, and she said that, who Sean Duffy is. He's like the Secretary of Transportation. She said something like she had heard that one of his kids had cancer. And I'm like, I didn't hear anything about any of this. I mean, he has like 7 kids or whatever, but like, no, I didn't hear anything about. So anyway, so I go to one of the AI things, and I think it was the Google, the Gemini, and it pulls out this very confident wrong answer that said that Sean and Rachel Duffy have 2 children who have cancer. One of them passed away, and then the other one didn't. And it lists these 2 people by name. Wow. And so I'm like, what? Because like I've never heard anything like that. And so I actually pull up those kids' names on Google. One of them is a GoFundMe for a child with cancer, who has the same last name, but is not related to them. And then the other one is a child's obituary and funeral announcement and whatever from like 4 years ago. Again, not related to these people. So it was one of those things where like even trying to confirm, my mother-in-law had this question. The AI was wrong. And then, doing some digging, I was like, yeah, I was able to figure out that the AI was way wrong. So yeah, it's pretty wild.
That's the big thing with AI right now is it's pulling from the giant slop bowl that is the internet and trying to piece this together. Like here's an example. Earlier today, I'm an NFL fan, have been my whole life, right? So we have Myles Garrett of the Browns, shitty football team, but he is a fucking beast on defense, and he's at 20 sacks already this year. So I wanted to I'm like, 20 sacks, and he's got 4 games to go. Well, 3 in the if it old 16 game season. And I said, what is the best sack seasons in the history of the NFL? I just wanted to see where this was at this point. And it pulled up and it talked about the 2 guys who are leading in sacks. And, or the guys who hold the record, 22 and a half sacks in a season, TJ Watt and Michael Strahan. And it said, what is most impressive about TJ Watt is that he did it during a 17 game season rather than a 16 game season. So it makes it more impressive. Yeah. Wait a minute. He had 1 more game to do it. So that actually makes it less impressive. But the AI said that made it more impressive.
More impressive.
So
17 is more than 16, so it must be better, I guess.
With just a touch of knowledge, you can look at that and be like, wait, that's wrong. But if somebody just looked at that arbitrarily in a bar, guys drinking and they're getting into a fight, who's the best sack guy ever? And then they look at this and all of a sudden it says, TJ Watt, see, the AI says it's more impressive because he did it in 17 games. That could cause a fist fight. Just saying.
Now, what's cool, Chig, if you corrected it, if you went back and said, wait a minute, and explained that, they come back with snappy little phrases like, oh, good catch, thanks.
I agree.
Okay, great.
I'm more worried about the fact I watched T2 the other day, and if I start arguing with the AI now, they're going to send somebody back from the future to kill me so that I don't correct that error.
You do need to be nice to them. Yes.
That was a random side quest.
All right. So what else? Medical. I had an MRI this week. That was loud. And now for some reason I always know where north is.
Did it rip your tongue piercing out of your face?
No, but my nose hurts.
Gotcha.
Let's see, in game. I haven't done that much in game. I've been doing some engineering, playing with, taking a Corsair and trying to make an all-around power player. By that, I mean, I've got a little bit of everything on it so that I'm not just doing one single thing. I'm not just out there grabbing Cardo, or I'm not just out there doing PvP, or not just doing hauling or whatever. I want to be able to just go into a system and do a little bit of everything. And putting that together, I've got it. I'm really interested to see what the weapons setup's going to be. I've got it with 3 pacifiers. I got a pack hound with drag on it. I got Seeker with the FSD interrupt, and probably
SRVs.
No SRVs. This is not Lark inspired.
Lark.
Last thing, I'll probably put a rail on it with a super penetrator on that last. But so be able to go in the system and hack some signage and just do a little bit of everything with it. None of it very efficiently, but just to see if it's going to be any fun. I'm just about finished with it, and it's taken a very long time to get it done because I hadn't been able to spend much time in game. I haven't been able to track what's been going on with power play and the enclave and when stuff turns red and blue as much. I'm still very confused. Thought I had it figured out, and then it proved to me that I was as about as confident as some of the LLMs I've been playing with.
I helped. You asked for somebody to go to a system.
Yeah, you did. You did. Appreciate that. And that's where we're at. So, Mr. Scotty, what have you been up to?
Mr. Scotty.
Mr. Scotty.
Okay. Friend of Fred.
Okay. Fair. In real life, what? Getting some Christmas shopping done. My kids are all coming home.
I forgot.
Over the next few weeks. Next week or so. So we'll have a full house again, which we haven't had for a few months, so that'll be fun. I fixed the yaw spring on my flight stick finally. That was a little adventure. It involved some mechanical skills and manipulating a part that didn't quite fit, but in the end it works great. So that was really nice.
Verpal, is that what that
Yeah.
was?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean the thing's built like a tank, so it can take it if you have to hammer on some things and get out some big pliers and bend some things, and it all works out in the end. So I was very happy with that. Put a little bit in our Discord some pictures of, if anyone has to do that, they should go have a look at that, because there's some tips and tricks there that might save you some time. In-game, was doing some ship combat early in the CG, killed an enemy commander that Adaxius took credit for. I got Fred into the top 75%. I tried, the red marker, blue marker thing. I was trying to do some reinforcing, but the only combat stuff I could find was hang out in nav beacons and shoot pirates or people that were of opposing forces. But there were very few that were either pirates or of opposing forces, I found. There was all kinds of clean, non-aligned ships. So I went back to finding combat zones instead. That worked out a little better for me. And that's basically where I'm at. So I think we've gone around the horn here. We have some squad info. So why don't we go check that out?
Incoming priority message.
Squadron briefing.
Alrighty, so from about 10,000 feet, it's looking like things in BGS world seem to be settling out, and it's functioning in some sort of quasi-normal way. We are now in 356 star systems. We control 101. We have a few wars and elections ongoing at the present time. I'm not going to list them because there's a bunch of them, most of which we don't really care about. And then new Screwspace is growing with in leaps and bounds. Lark's new system and new station, I believe it's a Dodec, is online. It's a tier 3 station, and a bunch of guys were doing a hell of a lot of work hauling to get it open. And then Ranglon has joined the fray, Commander Ranglon, and he's been getting his system built. He's building a ground port near some brain trees. And these brain trees drop technetium. So
that's a great find.
Yeah, I know. And it's our little corner of our little area, new Screwspace, is turning into something really cool. Soon we're going to have pretty much a self-sustaining set of markets online, and we'll be able to kind of have them mapped out neatly, so that when we are building and expanding, we can, buy Screw as opposed to buying other people.
Do you know how close he put his installation to the brain trees?
We warned him to put them far enough away that it wouldn't delete them.
It wouldn't. Okay.
Yeah, but we don't know if that actually worked or not. But we gave him that warning. So hopefully those brain trees survive and don't wither away because of big colony.
Human infestation.
Human infestation, exactly. Mm-hmm. So, but that was a cool find and a cool little system in our area. I'm working on developing an atlas for all of this stuff. But if anyone is interested in colonization, we're having a lot of fun in new Screwspace, and there's plenty of space in space. We can help you find some pretty cool systems. We can help you build daisy chains to said systems. There's a lot of us enjoy the working together that we're doing. I mean, hauling is not the most exciting thing on the planet, but hauling together, hauling for a goal is fun. So, we have a dedicated channel to it called New Screwspace Mega Thread in our colonization task board channel. So if you're interested in hauling or you're interested in colonization, come join us there. And then now that The BGS is looking like some sort of quasi semblance of something. We may start posting a very limited set of standing orders back again. The last one was October 19th, so you might see some things to do in the coming weeks. That's what we got for the squadron.
All right. Let's move on to the short PP report.
That was short.
This is
That
the
was
short
short.
report.
We'll let it get a little longer.
Target shields offline. Target destroyed.
It's average, so get your facts straight.
Okay. Once again, unashamedly copied from KrugerFive's update on the Loose Screws Discord. Cycle 58 with the HIP 87621 enclave battle and CG in full swing. Those benefiting and gaining the most throughout the galaxy this cycle are number 1, Grom, number 2, Arissa, Lavinia Duval, and number 3, Kaine. Mahon, Torval, Ashling, and Patreus all went negative for the week. Delaine takes back 10th position from Zemina Torval on the Nicey /KrugerFive boards. On the FDev leaderboard, Grom and Kaine both added 11 new systems for the top spot, with Grom taking the edge with +1 strongholds. Emperor Arissa adds the most strongholds this cycle with +2. Lots of data being tracked in the battle for HIP 87621 by others. A couple places keeping some cool data around the enclave to look for if you haven't seen it yet. Ian Doncaster has probably the best data keeping track of the undermining and reinforcement details at, and there's a link we'll have in our show notes. It's really interesting to see who's getting hit the hardest and where. It really shows how hard Li Yongrui and Ashling have been getting hit. It'll be interesting to watch it all as Li Yongrui is on the ropes. Archers getting knocked out and the other powers are starting to grow a foothold. Also keep a lookout for Commander Jen Zoff's daily posts of HIP 87621 status over at the Burr Pit Power Play Discord channel. They have been posting a regular table of each system's state and status. That is also interesting to watch. Okay, we have some dev news this week. Let's see, there's been the Caspian update number 1. Some of the highlights of that is there was a cap added for engineering resistances to avoid values above 75% being achieved. Station weapons now deal plasma damage, improving effectiveness against target resistances.
Wait, what is plasma damage?
Well, I was going to come back to that, but let's jump into that now.
Right.
Go ahead. What is plasma damage? Because I think there was some confusion based on that wording. What's the truth on that, Chig?
Well, there's a couple different kinds of plasma damage. Plasma is a weapon type rather than a damage type. And plasma does, whether it's plasma accelerators or guardian plasma chargers, I think they're called. It depends on how they divide thermal, absolute, and kinetic. So them saying just straight up, we're changing it to plasma. Has anybody flown to a station and seen them shoot their guns? Is it plasma guns now of some kind? Or is it still lasers just doing plasma damage?
Jeez.
Sounds like
I don't think any of us have
cheap.
decided we're going to just go and get attacked, and I die pretty quickly.
Well, that's. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
It'd be super cool if also it was plasmas shooting out at different rates depending on which plasma you have. So
maybe you could dodge them then.
Yeah.
Thermal damage is almost typically no. You get some thermal from rails and stuff, but them saying something using terminology that just isn't a thing. There is not plasma damage. That's not a thing.
But isn't that on brand for them?
Well,
it's so
this is how they roll.
them.
I mean, you got to understand these foreign companies, they don't speak English as their first language. And so it all has to get translated to English for us to be able to see the notes online. And so,
God.
You know, the United
So,
States and England are two nations separated by a common language. And so whatever
Yes.
they say has to get translated into like real English for us to understand it.
So I think Trax posted the two different types of what could be plasma damage, with one of them being 60%, 20%, 20% between thermal, kinetic, and absolute. And that's like the regular plasma accelerators. Is that what that was? And then the other one, the Guardian plasma chargers is 100% absolute. That's the choices we have, unless they've come up with a third.
That's a possibility. Now, ideally, they could have just went with their lasers are now absolute damage rather than thermal damage. That stations can just destroy players relatively easily, no matter what your resistances are. But they put a cap on resistances at 75%, and they also changed damage to quote unquote plasma damage. So what it actually is will take testing, but Jesus Christ. All right, I'm okay.
And I was at work today, so, you know, Canon didn't figure this out in the time that I was at work, because they usually figure shit out in like my work day.
Do we know why they capped the resistances?
Well, because of the Caspian coming out with an extra... there was a bug where you could stack resistances on your hull to where you would become not invincible to thermal damage, but you could survive a long time. And the Caspian having one more internal optional slot than even the Anaconda pushed the amount of thermal hull so far through the roof that you could literally sit in a station and just be shot by their lasers for, I don't know what it was. Hours, days,
I heard the Anaconda was like, it could last for almost 2 minutes, and that was theorized because, you know, they changed it before you could build it.
Yeah.
That Caspian could last almost 18 minutes because
just being shot.
The mathematical error that's in there. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like a percentage thing. And so like when you get that high of a resistance, you know, it's kind of like you hit an inflection point. So, and that's probably why they had the mirrored stuff was also offline.
Yeah,
was because
mirrored
is they held that back because of that. That's exactly right.
Now I'm going to trigger Adaxius. Let me trigger Adaxius right now. The reason that this got to their attention is because our best friend Mekin, well, my best friend Mekin, who is, he's definitely Dutch. I'm going to stick with Dutch, even though it's not. But he posted a video because he had posted this problem that's been in the game for years, and he had just learned about it, and he brought it to the attention, and nothing was happening about it until all of a sudden he had put the Caspian out, and this might hurt Caspian sales if all of a sudden this is like an even bigger problem all of a sudden. So he posted another video about this giant bug, and then they just pulled that armor out of the game, and that's why we have this next Caspian patch this quickly, is because they needed to fix this problem. But my problem is what they're doing to fix it isn't really fixing the math. It's just going with temporary fix, but it's really a very small problem, so I'm not going to complain too much. At least they did something, but I don't know, at the end of the day, come on, guys.
I should point out to Mekin's credit, he did not post that video until FDev came back and said they were going to hold the ablative mirror surface composite being released, which would have prevented. And then he posted the video. He held it for 4 or 5 days, I think it was.
So these 3 updates, so the third update being that the Mark II ablative mirrored surface composite armor is now available. So these are all kind of related, these 3 updates.
Yes.
Now does anyone use mirrored surface composite other than somebody who is like building I want to murder hobo inside a station?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I've never bought mirrored surface composite.
No.
Is there anything about a hull tank that you would use that for, potentially? Maybe a smaller ship? I'm trying to remember something about smaller ship builds.
Making a hull tank more thermal resistant just seems... It's a very
like
specific
why.
scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because I've always taken the buy reactive and make it balanced, except if you're building an anti-Thargoid, in which case it's just like hit points, hit points, hit points.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Now, what I thought about, if they had left this in, then the Caspian would have been great to use in CGs where all the NPCs are blocking the mail slot, and you could have gone in there and cleared them out. That could have been fun.
Building a snowplow of sorts,
like a station test.
Well, you know,
kind of.
that's what made me think, since they've taken this away, I want a snowplow or bulldozer blade for my T8. Put that on the front and push them around.
I'm going to say right now, I've flown through, the CG stuff in my Panther Clipper through a mail slot that's blocked. If you are not using a docking computer, you can still weasel your way through there.
Yes, you can.
Relatively easily. So
you can also push them out. That's kind of fun.
Yep. Some nudging here and there. If you're under 100 meters per second,
just be under 100.
Not a crime. You just nudge, and you have the most mass. You can definitely squeeze your way in. So I'm just saying, you docking computer. I keep taking shots at Adaxius. My God. I'm sorry.
Well,
it's a large target.
If he's not here. But let's, maybe we should put an event together to test this plasma damage thing. What do we plan to have 12 commanders land in a station, and then we coordinate, we all launch at the same time inside the station and then attack the station at the same time and just watch what ensues. Will it kill us one at a time, or will it attack us all at once?
Test. This sounds like you wanting to just have us all killed instantly. I like it.
Well, it is a test to see who goes for it. I mean,
it seems pretty on brand for the kind of test we would do. Just saying.
Yeah. He'll go 1, 2, 3. No, wait, 3, 2, 1, launch. And he'll just sit on the pad and watch.
I'm just sitting here watching.
Yep, I like it.
Well, somebody's got to film it.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. Also this week, metallic paints are in the store for the Caspian Type 11 Panther Clipper 2. So these are the gold, baby. Chromed, and chrome. So some of these are sort of matte finish, and some of them are reflective. 2 of each, basically.
Yeah, the chrome is the reflective, and the chromed past tense is the one that's got kind of a matte finish to it.
Right, old, like it's old, and the shine has gone off a bit. Maybe a way to remember that. Also, key point, the Panther Clipper 2 ones, they're also painted over the black cargo section. So they've done that, which is nice. There's festive drops. So these are the Twitch drops. Is that what this is?
Is it Twitch drops?
Snowfall Icicle, snowflakes on a metallic. Saw what you did there. Background.
Yeah, I saw what I did there.
Festive giveaway, skins for all sorts of things. 3 last week, 3 this week, 5 next week, and 1 on the 22nd.
Yeah, and they're not bad skins, because one is for a Cobra Mark V, one is for a Mandalay, one is for an SRV Lark, and then so far 2 different guns for on foot. So they're kind of diversifying the portfolio of the giveaways, and they're using new ships. Because the one thing we bitch about with the Twitch drops is that the Twitch drops are always the same old ships. And I mean, I haven't flown my T9 since the Panther Clipper came out, and so, I mean, I appreciate the skins. I love the skins. I always do my holiday scavenger hunt in my crate Panther. I mean, my crate Phantom with Christmas skins all over it for the season. So I'm very appreciative of the festive drops, but it would be nice if they threw a couple of the new ships in with the with those festive drops. But the giveaways are doing that, so that's cool.
Cool. All right. Next up, we have a story from Galnet News. Battle rages on across HIP 87621 Enclave. The conflict continues across the 49 system enclaves surrounding HIP 87621, with military forces from all major powers showing no signs of a ceasefire after 2 weeks of heavy fighting. And Ernesto Rios, a freelance war correspondent for Vox Galactica, reported, Although the Empire appears to be the dominant force across the enclave after this initial campaign, it's becoming clear that this conflict concerns far more than territorial influence. Radicoida unica has been confirmed by Vista Genomics as a wholly unique species, with early genetic indicators suggesting potential advancements once fully understood. Given the scale of mobilization across the enclave, it is possible that certain details of its properties are known only to a select few within senior leadership circles. Do we make anything about that potential advancements once fully understood?
Spore drive?
Could be a succession of things coming from this, maybe? Or levels of things, if it's a serum or something. I guess we'll have to wait to see.
Yeah.
I
don't know where they're going. Honestly, I don't know where they're going with it.
I guess it remains to be seen if this is leading to some larger, like Thargoid war level event, or if this is going to remain a, call it a domestic dispute among power play powers.
You need like tardigrades for spore drive. Is that how that worked?
I mean, you can always like modify a person.
Oh.
There are some modified persons in the game.
Yep.
Just saying.
Sunjay.
Well, and millions of pod people as well.
Oh, the pod people, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a pod sidekick for the ship? Like a pod crew member, so you have like your regular crew member that can fly your little ship, and then you have and then you got SLF, and then you have like another crew member that's like pod crew guy, and then he can drive your spore drive, so you get to Colonia like that.
You insert them like a suppository through the back hatch of your ship.
Yeah. Well, they'll hatch. Didn't they hatch?
Hatch door.
Yeah, they've already hatched. They're just like the the Empire ones live kind of in a very nice, peaceful place far away from the Empire. And then the Fed ones are in prison, somewhere. And
the Alliance ones are, who knows
just walking
where.
among them because the Alliance is stupid like that. So
either way, we'll use them as fuel. I like
exactly.
All right. We have a couple of discussion potential topics here. Do these capture the imagination of anyone? The first one, the Caspian is a tool ship. The Caspian is a tool ship.
It's a
Chig,
tool.
do you have any thoughts on that?
Tool ship.
Do you have any thoughts on that? What's a tool ship?
I don't know. This was in the notes? Notice?
You have an opinion about the Caspian. Why don't you dredge that up and trot it out?
My only opinion about the Caspian is it is your fast traveler. If you want a neutron highway, get anywhere in the galaxy fast, like the record from Seoul to Colonia is 38 minutes or some crazy shit right now.
46 jumps.
Yeah, that somebody pulled off, and I still don't know how. I want to know what internet this guy's got that he's pulling under a minute per jump. That's impressive.
Well, yeah, that becomes a significant part of it at that speed. Yeah,
exactly. If you're pulling that off, you've got internet that us mere mortals don't have, because especially to supercharge your FSD and be jumping and not Braben tunneling, that is insanely impressive to me. My fastest getting from anywhere from point A to point B, I estimate about a minute a jump. So yeah, that's pretty good.
Now, how much of that is on our end, and how much of that is on sort of the rest of the internet's end? Like, how many people are playing Elite Dangerous at once? How much, the server strain for the servers? I mean, how much of it, like when I'm jumping, is my interwebs, and how much it is? I would not
be surprised if time of day has an effect where you're doing it from. I wouldn't be surprised if it has the fact that we're not English based. Is the guy who broke the record English based? I'd be curious. That might be interesting to know, because every few seconds matter when you're doing what he's doing. So that's some science that could be done.
I know when we've had slowdowns and carrier jump times before, either in high traffic periods or also around events, it seemed as though FDev could choose to offload that delay either onto carriers or onto ships jumping from system to system. Like there's some relationship. Yes, there's some relationship there where they could make one faster at the expense of the other, or one slower at the benefit of the other.
I always assume that carrier jumping was a server because they need to find places where these things are going. And when you get a bunch of carrier jumps, it's, more of a database issue than anything else. And where
I don't know the
Braben
specifics,
tunnels
but
were.
I've experienced it where I think what's happening is if they let it get extreme and it's consuming a resource, let's say the carrier jump, it ends up impeding actually ship system jumping as well. I've only seen that around some very hairy events, like really populated events, but not normally. But it does seem to flex with traffic periods as well.
Traveling across the galaxy, it's probably not going to affect it as much because it seems to be kind of system specific, maybe.
I mean, this was a big issue when we launched Distant Screws 3, if you recall. There was an issue back then about carrier jump times and also about system jump times, and we almost delayed the departure because of that, and then it finally smoothed out.
So what event was going on at that time? What was happening?
What was it? There was something new being introduced into the game.
It was after the
Trailblazers?
Was it the beginning of Trailblazer or Power? Was the beginning of Power Play?
I thought it was the beginning of Trailblazers because I was in space when FZ Andromeda, because I was going to colonize FC Andromeda.
It was colonization. I think it was colonization.
Yeah, it was
colonization.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because we jumped off and it was like that debuted.
Some people left. Yeah, some people left the trip to go back and do colonization.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Fun. So what was the original question?
It's a tool.
It's a tool. It's a tool to get from point A to point B as fast as possible. It's not the best explorer ship in the game by any means. I mean, I always like people to say the view from your canopy view is a big factor. We have a camera suite that you can hotkey to something so you can look at, if you're taking screenshots and stuff. So I don't see that as a huge deal for exploration. But as far as what the Caspian does best, it is traveling fast, not exploring.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I kept a Anaconda for a similar reason for a long time. It was the get back to the bubble ship quick. It was also if I'm at the ceiling or floor of the galaxy and need to reach a star I can't reach, let's trot that thing out. It was like the tissue paper version of a Conda that could go the very farthest. In this case, I mean, what I've experienced on all 3 Distant Screws trips and other expeditions I've done is something will come up in the bubble that compels me to go participate, and so I, on a Thursday evening, do 26,000 light years back to the bubble, and the Caspian's perfect for that. It's literally the best ship for that now,
100%.
And I could see keeping one on the carrier just for that reason. But I don't know that I would. So somebody, was it Ed Skeel that mentioned it might be landing better now?
Yeah, he had mentioned that he was having problems landing it. The ass seemed fat or something, so landing on planets and stuff, he was having some difficulties, and he feels that there was, and no, this is all just anecdotal.
As of today?
Sure. Yeah,
and,
well, maybe it's related to the patch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And who knows, but every ship. Go ahead.
Yeah, I thought I saw someone else commenting on that too somewhere, in addition to Ed. Might have been on the Twitters or something. That there was landing better.
I've always found every ship, especially, how do you know if somebody flies FA off? They'll tell you. But flying FA off, I've always found some ships are easier to see where your nose is in the right position to land than others.
Oh.
I haven't flown a Caspian, so I don't know if it was a user error or not. I'll trust Ed that he found an actual issue with it and that he feels that they fixed it, but I don't know for sure. I mean, I always have a hell of a time. The Panther Clipper, for some reason, just getting the nose at the right level position always just is weird for me. So I always bounce once before I land it properly.
I mean, I will say this. I think whether or not I use the Caspian is obviously influenced by whether or not I'm taking a carrier on my expedition. If I'm taking a carrier and parking it somewhere, I'll fly a bunch of different ships, whatever's fun. I might explore in a courier, which I've done, because I'm in a sphere of dense stars, and jump range doesn't matter, and I just want to have some variety. The Caspian is a good ship, like the Anaconda is, if you want to take everything in the kitchen sink. Not that you need 3, repair units, but it's obviously with 14 internals, you can carry just about everything you could ever want and not want for a carrier. So I think it does slot into that as well. For me personally, with a carrier, I'm not going to use it other than it's basically like the escape pod that I can fly back and forth. So. Yeah.
Well, there's also the side, I've heard it turns better than the Anaconda in in Super Cruise. Which is,
I think it replaces the Anaconda for sure.
Yeah. SEO in it, which is going to improve it over Anaconda. To me, it's kind of the Anaconda killer as far as that goes. But a lot of people, when they think exploring, they have this list. I want to bring everything, and you go out, and I've gone out for 4 months before, and never been like when I did it in my Mandalay the last time. No, the last time I did a super long trip was my Phantom, and not one time in months out in the black was like, God, I wish I had this. Yeah, it's just not the case.
I think the Mandalay basically knocked the Anaconda unconscious, and now the Caspian's put a stake through its heart. I don't think there's a use case for the Anaconda in exploration with these 2 ships available.
100%.
All right. Next up, I have a few things to say, and you're welcome to comment as well, about on-foot gameplay improvements and what's still missing.
Did you do improvements with air quotes? Or did you?
So get comfy. This might take a minute. I will. This is long enough that I'm going to give you my core thesis, the executive summary at the beginning, and then go into a little bit of detail. So, the core thesis: Elite Dangerous Odyssey has. I think it's improved with. I'm talking about the latest improvements now. It's improved moment to moment on foot combat, but it still lacks a compelling compulsion loop, which I'll explain in a minute, which is why players maybe don't choose it repeatedly for fun as much as it could be otherwise. I think Frontier, like they've done with a lot of game mechanics recently, going back the last 2 years now, has reduced friction, and they've improved, as we've seen, the AI behaviors, but they haven't added meaningful incentives that make players want to engage in on-foot gameplay long-term. So, I mean, to give credit where credit's due, the enemy AI is better. The NPCs do more things: intelligent, retreating, pushing, using cover, moving faster. The combat friction, to the degree that people might have perceived that was an issue, although I'll come back to why maybe that wasn't so much. The rock, paper, scissors thing of shields versus kinetic penalties for the lasers, whether you use lasers or kinetic to do hit point damage or shield damage, that's all been toned down. So now the weapon choices are more forgiving, which you could say is much more accessible for new players. There's, in effect, less punishment for quote-unquote wrong loadouts. Bring what you like. It gives faster, smoother engagement loops. So these changes make on-foot combat, let's say, less annoying, but not necessarily more rewarding. So what's the missing piece? The missing piece is called a compulsion. I'll say a compelling compulsion loop. So in strong first-person shooters or hybrid shooters, combat feeds a reward loop. You have action, then there's typically an immediate reward, and then there's a motivation to repeat it. So, for example, from other games in Borderlands, enemies drop randomized weapons instantly. In Destiny, raids and dungeons reward rare, unique loot on completion. Even in Mass Effect, there was ways to do combos, for example, with biotics. So there's a kind of a puzzle-solving aspect to the combat. It rewarded understanding the mechanics well enough to combine things and get more damage or better outcomes. If you think about MMOs in general, many of them have multi-step, call it pinnacle or epic items that give long-term rewards, or big rewards, because it's a long-term goal you have to work through to, get all the pieces of it, or it's a multi-step kind of mission might take you months. And so,
and even things like Fortnite, because my kids used to play that. They would get a battle pass, and it was just a matter of unlocking everything in that battle pass before the season was over, and that was sort of a compulsion loop for the little kids.
There is,
it's an oversimplification.
Well, no, you're exactly right, but I think there's also a spectrum here where some of the compulsion, if you turn it up too strong, now you're punishing people with FOMO, and that can be wearing, that could be draining and fatiguing as well. So there's a balance there. I would say, though, typically, well, not just typically, always, Elite's on-foot combat, it ends when the enemy falls. Nothing meaningful happens because you fought. There's no immediate individual reward. They don't drop loot. They give you a score in your CZ, or there's a payout of credit, but there's no like tactile or personal reward moment. And in all these other games, the dopamine hit is immediate. In Odyssey, the rewards are they're kind of abstract. There's settlement loot, not in a CZ, but if you just go to a settlement, that's randomized. It's in cabinets and different places. A lot of it's irrelevant. Some of it could be obtained via stealth without fighting. But again, the conflict zones disable that entirely. So those rewards, combat is optional, not essential, which again weakens the compulsion loop for combat. And if you think more broadly, what is the real point of doing on-foot combat? At the end of the day, you could do it for BGS or power play reasons, right? So influence shifts, power play merits. But those outcomes happen hours or days later, like it accumulates, and it's at a faction or squadron level, not really individual. Yes, you can work your way up the ladder of power play rewards, but that is such a long grind in terms of time between taking out a certain set of enemies. There's no immediate reward that's individualized. Yes, you're working towards this abstract, amorphous, giant total that works your way up the ladder, but it's very kind of indirect, the reward loop. So, well, how'd this happen? I think there was a structural problem right from the get-go. Odyssey was built as a parallel game. It was launched separate. It has its own PEGI rating. You bought it separately. It was functionally siloed from the rest of the game. There was, until very recently, no real sphere of combat thing going on. You had ship missions, you had on-foot missions. It was all separate. And the on-foot gameplay never became foundational to the core systems. And if you think about going back to this sort of broad, nebulous reward for BGS and power play, I mean, you guys know this, I'm sure, better than me, but like when would you ever do on-foot things versus ship-based things to move a BGS needle or a power play needle?
You would,
right?
But it's going to take you longer. Yeah.
Right. There was
not
a
the most
built-in
efficient
disincentive.
Right.
It's a disincentive. Like that's what I'm talking about. Is if that's the compulsion loop, it was watered down.
Yeah.
So we've got upcoming operations, the new feature, dungeons basically. So you got your 4-player mission, the ship travel, the boarding mega ships, on-foot combat, and the rewards are teased as hard to get elsewhere or difficult to get otherwise. I think my concern there is if this is just the kinds of rewards you'd get once you'd leveled up to allied with a mission giver, hard to get materials, higher quantities of existing items, it feels like that loop is still weak. The scarcity alone isn't a good motivation. Uniqueness can be a motivation. So I guess the open question would be, how unique are operations rewards going to be? Because that's what's on the table here. Is are they really going to make a good compulsion loop around this? Now, what's the constraint? I think the constraint, as was mentioned, I think maybe Adaxius brought this up last week. It's like, look, Elite Dangerous is a small part of Frontier's revenue. There's likely a very small dev team. And most of the new features we've seen over the last 2 years, they're reuse of existing systems. They're rearranging the Lego bricks per se, with some new things on top, like the whole Titan loop, bombing, rescuing people, getting through the cloud. Like, I think that was a great example of how they combined mostly existing elements with a limited number of new mechanics in a really clever way. Like, that was well done. That was fun. But it wasn't like they were creating new large content pipelines or things that required massive balance passes or high asset creation costs, like you do, for example, if you were making 100 new unique weapons or something in a looter shooter. So what could work? What could work without breaking the DNA of Elite so far? I would say, what if we had some personal progression tied to combat? Maybe it's unique suit mods unlocked by doing combat and not just grinding. What if we had things like narrative or symbolic rewards? Maybe there's titles you could get, or call signs, or cosmetic markers, or something. And then if they really wanted to give a longer term, maybe more end game feel to it, let's look at things like multi-step. I mean, this is going all the way back to, I'm going to date myself, but EverQuest. If you think about the epic class items, they had multiple steps, and but it was a huge payoff at the end, so it kept you engaged. And then finally, the operations exclusive identity rewards, maybe not looking for necessary, maybe different capabilities, maybe it's different combinations of engineering effects or something. So I would say
but all associated
Odyssey,
with the ground game.
Yeah. Yes. Well, maybe. I mean, no, maybe no. I mean, I think the ground game is the core of this, but I think we need to, and I think they are, dropping the wall between the two. I think it was artificial, driven by, again, it's a different game. They were trying to monetize it separately at a different PEGI rating. I don't even know if that's all the reasons, but
Well, the PEGI rating had more to do with the fact that, in a spaceship game, when you're shooting abstract spaceships, it's a little bit different than shooting at another person from the people who make the ratings perspective. So that's why Odyssey, because you're shooting at other people, got a bump up in its rating.
Well, and I think that the point there was, if and I don't think it's true anymore, but back then it could be, well, if only a fraction of our player base has Odyssey, then anytime we make Odyssey specific things or anything that it would include Odyssey in the loop, we're disenfranchising a portion of the player base. I don't think that's, maybe the observation is, I don't think they're considering that to be a big constraint anymore.
Yeah.
So I would say right now, Odyssey combat, it's no longer bad, but it's still not compelling. They've improved how it feels, but not why you do it. And until on-foot gameplay has more immediate feedback, personal reward, or a reason to repeat it tomorrow, players will continue to tolerate it instead of choosing it.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm the tolerator. I haven't plant gunned a single thing. The only 2 times that I've been on foot, 3 times I've been on foot, is one, to wander around my fleet carrier. Done that a couple of times. I got out of my SRV once to pose for a picture at a Guardian site, and then I posed for the photo before Distance Cruise 3. And that's really the only few times I've been on foot. And I've never had a real reason to. I'm not a big first-person shooter guy. And so, and when Odyssey went live, I was still on an Xbox. So for a good several months, until in the time between when Odyssey dropped and they said that they were going to merge the programs, and they were going to go PC. They already said they were doing Odyssey for PC only, but basically when they created Legacy for consoles, that was when I pulled the trigger and bought a gaming PC. And I had my gaming PC, I had Odyssey, and I never had a real desire to do on foot, because as soon as I logged on that first time and they took me through the orientation, it said all of a sudden, they had to turn on my flashlight. And I couldn't figure out how to turn on a freaking flashlight, because I couldn't find it in the little wheel. And, someone told me at some point the next day after I said, you know what, screw that, I'm just going to fly spaceships because that's what I like to do is I like to fly spaceships. Someone in our Discord said, oh, you push T for torch. And I was like, okay, so they wrote it in a foreign language.
That language barrier again.
The language barrier. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like, write the damn game in English and not in English. So, I mean, my goodness. I mean, so anyway, so I just kind of never really had that motivation. And yeah, they did some cool things when they did the spires, and they had that loop where you had to go on foot and you had to, do some flying and then do some on foot and all that for that one mission loop. I was like, that's cool, but I've never done any unlock the engineers, done this and that. And I was so busy with all the other things I wanted to do, like BGS and this and that. I was like, I really don't have that motivation. And then, now that they're throwing in some CGs and they're throwing in some other kind of things, I'm kind of like thinking, maybe I should give it another go, especially if they're giving away pre-engineered stuff for participation, because I don't know how excited I am to try to unlock all those engineers. I mean, it's such a foreign language to me, the way that the engineering is and the way that this is and that is, that it's like with the on foot, it's kind of like learning a new game. So,
and speaking of friction within a game, there's been a lot of calls to make engineering on weapons and suits reversible, make it so the components can come on and off. That could also be a source of, in a way, making quote unquote randomized weapons. What if some of the loot could be a scope or an attachment or something? You could even come up with new categories. Good Lord, there's no shortage of ideas for how to kit out a weapon.
Oh yeah,
from any number of first-person shooters. And if you could make them interchangeable, now you've got different kits and packages and combinations and things you could try. I never understood the whole thing of once you.
Do you guys
put
ever
the thing
play
on
Deer
the suit,
Hunter on your phones?
No.
There was
No,
this
was it
game
good?
called Deer Hunter. It was like a cell phone game, and basically, you just shot at deer, and it was a really cool game because as you played and as you progressed on each level, you had to do a series of hunts. And then as you were doing these hunts, they got progressively harder. And so you would unlock guns, you would unlock parts for guns, you would be modifying these guns, a lot like Elite with engineering. But, it was this whole thing where it's like different scope, different barrel, different stock, for a different kind of kick and things like that. And it was so cool. I mean, so I would love, something where it was more modular.
But still,
in that
the
regard.
point is that was a game that was designed. It was a first-person shooter for deer. It wasn't a game on your phone where you flew a spaceship and landed on a planet and went deer hunting.
Right.
That's fair. It's not,
even
it's not
if it had all of those upgrades for the guns and so forth, I'm still in a camp of where I still haven't found a compelling reason to invest in the on foot. The only thing that has pulled me into that, besides I did the plant gunning because that was new CG, and that was kind of interesting. I did that, and then I also did the recent CG, which I used as a shakedown flight for the Caspian. That's all I've done from the biologicals. As far as first-person shooter, the only time I've done it, I did it with Trax and Adaxius, and that's the reason I did it, is because I did it with Trax and Adaxius. I did it with the other. That's the only thing that's going to pull me into that side of it, is playing with other people. So from that standpoint, maybe this next iteration of where they're going with this, it'll be more compelling because it'll be more not forced team-based, but clearly slanted towards team-based play. To encourage people.
I mean, the reason team-based, one of the reasons team-based play works in other games is you need the team to actually complete the mission.
Exactly.
Like, it's that hard.
Right. So, yeah.
I mean, just to go back to it, to think about what makes the game compelling, I guess this goes back to something I was talking about a few weeks ago, which is I think they're taking notes from the MMO playbook or loosely from some shooter playbooks. That's why we've got the Vanguard update with squadrons, which is guilds. This is why operations, that these things are shadows of mechanics that are in other games, and they're looking for what works. And what I'm saying is, for a compulsion loop, there's 4 things that are very popular in games nowadays. One is enemies drop loot and is randomized, or maybe it's not randomized, but enemies drop loot. Another one is there's a dungeon that has a rare thing in it that you can only get from the dungeon, and it's unique. And maybe you don't get it every time, so there's replayability. Or you get a lesser version of it so you can work up to something. That's the second one. The third one is puzzle mechanics. And now, which is, ironically, one of the things they turned down. The puzzle, maybe the weak and annoying version of a puzzle mechanic was you have to use a certain weapon to get through shields and a certain weapon to do hit point damage. And then the fourth is have something that is a long-term project where you're collecting different, MacGuffins and tchotchkes to build together to get the super thing you want to get at the end. That's kind of the 4 main things. And I would argue that it would serve them, again, because this is a foot game inside of a space game.
Right.
They don't need to reinvent it. They could crib from something else that works with no shame, and then we'd have a fun little side thing built into the space game. Instead of trying to be too clever and missing the mark.
I still. That's the key. I have no interest in doing the ground game. But if you turn that around and turned it into EVA type of stuff, or I'm invading another ship and I've got to deal with lack of gravity and so forth, and I'm doing it spacewise, I would be all over that. But being on the ground, it's still. Question for Chig. What drew you to the ground? Is it you're just compulsive completionist, and that's the reason you went after that?
No.
What drew you to this ground game?
This is a really easy answer. This game is has become my forever game, I think is the term that Adaxius has used, right? But I like to play a first-person shooter once in a while. This game added that to this, so I don't have to go outside of this game to scratch that itch. So this game added that, and I got to go and do that, and their way of implementing it wasn't perfect, but it was enough to scratch that itch for me. And there was a level of skill to it because it actually had a mechanic, the stupid weapon switching thing, which stupid or not.
No, that's fun.
But it was in there, but at least it was a mechanic. I didn't need to use it because it would just take longer to shoot through armor with a laser if I wanted to, or I'd throw in a plasma rifle or a plasma shotgun, which shot slower, but that was the compromise. It did the most damage, but it shot slower, so I had to learn how to lead a target and stuff like that. And like the plasma rifle, what they call the sniper rifle in this game, before they sped up the plasma, it was kind of very gratifying to be able to land a shot with that thing from a distance if you're leading somebody or something like that. And now I don't need to use that because it shoots faster, but I don't even need to go down that route. I can now use the laser rifle, which is essentially hit scan, and shoot down those shields instantly, and then I can kill the armor very, more rapidly than I could in the past. So I could literally just laser rifle from rooftops as far away as possible and just walk my way through these things. Now, I mentioned earlier, I play a different game than some people. The weapons I'm using, the amount, I've won over 1,000 high CZs. I've done over, 500 of those safeguard missions. The level 5, the hardest safeguard missions there are. I've done probably 500 of those solo. So I'm might be playing a different game and my weapon choices were for that. But when I've went out and tested the new stuff, none of this was more difficult. It was a little bit different and in a lot of ways easier because the weapons I was choosing. It actually, yes, all of a sudden they'll duck and it's like, oh, he ducked. That's crazy. Well, be prepared for that. I'll just aim for his crotch every time. So if he ducks, I'm getting a headshot. So, you know, that's it. And from a distance, you know, they're moving around, but the farther you're away, even if they're moving faster, you know, in relative terms, it's still really easy to hit. It's when you're up close and they're acting, it's almost frenetic like they are right now. It's a little bit different. But for me, it's adding mechanics raises the skill cap because you need to learn the mechanic as well as just simply aiming, shooting, timing when you run out of ammo. Like Alec Turner on Lave was talking about, he was wondering about the whole running out of ammo. Is that a compelling, you know, game component? Well, it's just another mechanic you got to deal with. Timing when you run out of ammo, you know, reloading before you start shooting at a new target. Oxygen, recharging your cell phone. I mean, your shields. You know, all this stuff that you're doing.
Well, this is part of my complaint is they've taken weak versions of some existing compulsion loops, like little puzzles, but they did it in a way.
Real briefly. 1 second. You keep using compulsion loop. I love your terminology. That is brilliant. But let's just twist that. Reason to grind is what.
Well,
is what you're.
I guess my point is they're using weak versions of it. Maybe trying to be clever. Like stop trying to invent this. This isn't an FPS. You can copy something else from another game without shame and get it right. Because there's other games that spend a lot of time with psychologists trying to figure out the Pavlovian balance of what's going to be fun, like what makes the game loop fun.
Let's go compulsion loop. I mean, let's go 150 episodes of Loose Screws back. Before Odyssey launched, I even mentioned it'd be cool if there was loot drops, and it makes zero sense. You shoot somebody in the face, they fall to the ground, you can't see what grade their gun is and also upgrade your gun if they have one better than you, right? I mean, why can we not do that? And if it's armor, okay, there's other people around.
Sure.
Stripping this guy naked is also weird. But at least guns you should be able to just pick up randomly and collect these things. So, you know, yes, absolutely. The fact that there is no other than the size of the bond. You know, I do a high CZ. I know I'm doing that solo. I'm walking over there with 15 million in bonds after it's completed. A medium, I'm getting maybe 6 million. A low, I'm getting maybe 2 million. You know, it's the amount of bonds you're going to accumulate over the course of that.
That's an intellectual reward, but that's not a physiological dopamine psychological reward. That's what they're missing.
Exactly. Weapons dropping. Also, you get, like, right now, if you just are flying around, I don't know how many people do this. I know we've listed these in the past, and I know there's Discords that have specific places for if you are at a station, you check the armor guy. I don't even, Frontier Supplies. What is it
Pioneer
called?
Supplies.
Pioneer Supplies. You go to Pioneer and you look, and all of a sudden there's a blue gun there, and it's got engineering on it to boot. You're like, holy crap, this is oh,
right.
I already have
that's exciting. That's like a little little example of that.
Little dopamine hit. Exactly. And that's what looting would do at the same time. And that absolutely would add that loop. But this game in this player base, you add any randomness to anything and they kind of lose their shit. I mean, the whole engineering thing changed because people were upset that you could get, you know,
there's ways to do these. There's ways to do these wrong. It's not ham-fisted. Like, again, I said there's games that spend millions of dollars figuring out how to tune these loops. Right?
What would you drop? I mean, like, what would you drop? I mean, because what would be like something that is like, hey, okay, I have 10 of these, or I don't care about getting these anymore. Like, well, what kind of thing would be sort of the thing that they would say, okay, well, if I'm going to do this loop, and there's going to be some sort of drop.
Maybe they drop upgraded ammo. Maybe it's an attachment for your weapon that's better.
Dude, just keep it simple.
I just mean, but I mean in the current
you-
game mechanic. I mean, I don't want to
all
introduce
you
a
would
new
need
way
to
that
do, we just mentioned the dopamine hit of finding a weapon with some engineering
It's
on
like,
it.
yeah,
There's
it's
no
like
reason
finding,
it couldn't drop.
finding the
Look at that
upgraded
Artemis
stuff in the
suit
store.
that dropped. That Artemis suit dropped with these different engineerings on it. It's like, okay, that's perfect. You have a 0.5%, 1 in 200 chance of getting a sniper. You know, the guy you're shooting is carrying, a plasma, the executioner, the sniper rifle, right? He's got a 1 in 200 chance of dropping one with different engineering stuff on it. It may be good, may not be good, but you hate going in engineering. You don't want to unlock those engineers, but you can get that same thing by just going out and murdering people and hoping to get it. That's the dopamine drop. That's your reason to grind. That's your compulsion.
Another mechanic that a lot of these games use that ties
so that
into
there's
that.
a chance. No, so there's go back to that. So there's a chance I'd get the weapon.
Yep.
Yes.
That's
And-
cool.
Don't make it anything better than everything else in the game.
Right.
No, it's the difference and uniqueness. And then you can build out an outfit that has a weird combination of things. You can find niche builds. Like that starts to feel building at that point, where you find these niche builds and it's fun because you used your intelligence and your cleverness, or your friends told you about this or that, and try it out. One other mechanic that often is used.
Oh.
What? Loadouts?
Take it one step. No. Well, loadouts, yes. That's my dream for this game. No, take it one step further. What we're doing right now is the same thing on ships that you're fighting in space. If we get EVAs, you board their ship, you can steal their ship, and all of a sudden you get a ship with this certain level of engineering and this that A-rated here, certain level of engineering, and you start stealing ships on top of it, and you add EVA and you add the ground combat, and the entire game is tied together. That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
100%.
One mechanic that exists in ships that they haven't put on foot is degradation of items. So once you start draw things as loot, one way that those mechanics can work together is, let's say your gun is good for 500 shots, and you can go repair it, or you can pick up another gun, or you can find an attachment that's good for 50 shots or 1,000 shots. I don't know. That's where the balance comes in. But
and that would
way,
get you back.
You create a flow.
Yeah, I mean, and that would
that would bring you back, right?
Yeah, bring me back, and I would be fine with that. And if I knew that, okay, you have this item and it wears out, and the only way you get another one is to do, play the game and get one to drop and get it. I mean, honestly, I mean, like I keep bringing up Fortnite, but each loop is its own life. So like when you're killing things and doing that, you've got this epic weapon, but you've got this epic weapon until you either A, drop it, or B, that game is over. So there's a finite amount of time.
Then I'd like to admit.
Yeah. No, so you guys know what I'm talking about then. So there's probably a way to cut that baby in half and have, some sort of attrition on, a fairly nice unlockable item, because otherwise how many items can you have? How many of a certain gun, how many of a certain suit can you have?
There's a lot. I mean, when you go all the engineering and stuff, but where they missed the boat,
no, but how many can you carry? Like you can only have 40 ships on your fleet carrier. That's a good question. Like how many Artemis suits can you own? How many
in the current setup? Well, in the current setup, why would you? Because they don't degrade, and there's certain setups that are kind of meta.
Right.
Right. So I don't think you need more than 12.
And what scenarios do you need different for? Exactly. No, right.
So then once you get the suit, you got it forever. And once you get the gun, you got it forever. So like I said, introducing this sort of attrition. Yeah. And that's the part where I think with this compulsion loop, it breaks unless there's a change. And then, all the oh no people are gonna
they screwed up is how they made these such separate games. I mean, you go your ground combat and your space combat. Just think about how you fight in those. And the biggest problem with the ground combat, and where the weapon swapping was an interesting mechanic, I know people hate it, but was because there was no shield mechanic. There was nothing in there. There was just nothing there. You weren't countering anything with your shields. You just had weapons that could counter shields or armor. So, if they'd had some kind of pip mechanic for your shields or special engineering for doing certain things, but they didn't. So it really dumbed it down on your defense side and made you just figure out offensively how to do more damage. And somebody may correct me. Like I said, I've done thousands of on-ground stuff. I've never noticed the on-ground guys changing their weapons to do more damage to you or not. The biggest threat to me always was if 2 plasma rifle guys, while I was shooting somebody else, managed to hit me in succession. That was what would kill me. That's the only time I died. And and if they would have had some mechanic for those shields or different engineering or something, but they didn't. In space, that's the biggest differentiator of combat skill is how you manage your pips. On ground, it was literally how good you are at FPS. I mean, whether you are switching weapons or not, because switching weapons, people may have found convoluted, but all it was to me is changing ammo in the same gun. And you could switch weapons faster than you could reload a gun. So it was not a complicated mechanic for me. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Anyone want to talk about compulsion loops anymore? Anyone feel compelled?
I'm not compelled to do that. No.
Yeah.
No.
All right. Well,
I think we beat that compelling horse.
I think we've landed that ship. Community corner. We've got a few things. There's an excellent video from LCU No Fool Like One and Psychit, and maybe there's a few more people. I think there's obviously other people involved with that too, but there's sort of the 2 headliners there. The Fairy Tale of Raxla. It is a incredibly technically well done video, and it's charming and it's funny. It's a send up of the Fairy Tale of New York. If you're familiar with that Christmas song, it's one of my favorites. Yep. Which is kind of a raunchy, irreverent. Was it the Pogues that did that?
The Pogues. It was the Pogues and Kirsty McCall.
Yeah.
It's on my Christmas playlist. You know, I probably hear it like 2 or 3 times on the way to work and home from work and et cetera. So
it's brilliant. Their work in this video is brilliant. So please check that out. We'll have the link is already, I think, was it Wintermute that posted it in our Discord first? And then a few other people chimed in on it, but we'll also have it in the show notes. We've also got
now the challenge for you and for Daxie, if he's listening, is to answer that with a send up of Christmas wrapping.
Okay, we'll see.
That's sort of the
goes.
American version of Fairy Tale in New York.
Okay, we've also got Alex Turner's SRV. Art 06 ho 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 7. I'm not sure why he put 6-7 in there, but anyway, a wonderful video.
Ask your kids.
Yes, 6-7. I know. I'm trying to avoid it, but
this is a game for old people, so it's not like we're gonna have a whole bunch of kids
screaming when we say that.
Lambda Andromeda going 6-7, 6-7 or whatever, So we're pretty safe.
So check out Alec Turner's SRV art video. We'll have the link to that one as well. And let's see, what else? We've got the Discord, loosescrewsed.com, loosescrewsed.com. So please join us on Discord. It's active. There's a merch store. And from that website, you'll also find our Discord link. You can support us on Patreon. The money goes back into the community. And I think we made it. I think I made it to the end. So.
You did?
I think so.
Thank you.
I'm going to give 2 bits of advice because I honestly don't. I feel like I was preachy tonight and acting know-it-all-y and a little actually, and I'm sick of being that guy. So I honestly, in case I'm never on the show again, these are my bits of advice. Everything about this game is hard until it isn't. Sounds simple. That's AXI put out this stuff when you're fighting aliens. It literally, if you're fighting Thargoids, it's hard until it isn't. All of a sudden, it just becomes easy. FA off, it's super hard until it isn't. Staying alive in this game can seem super hard until it isn't. So just enjoy the game, have fun, and I'll quit being a know-it-all bitch and just go on my merry way. That's all I got.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah,
and,
you're welcome.
So thank you, Chig. Thank you, Commander Bloomingwind. Thank you, Commander Oblivious, for another wonderful Loose Screws podcast. And we're done. So say goodbye, folks.
Goodbye, folks.
Goodbye, folks.
Bye,
Goodbye,
bitch.
folks.
Am I supposed to end it?
Somebody is.
Someone has to.
He asked Bloom to end it, so that's why I'm
Oh.
like...
Oh, you want me to end it? I can end it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will end it. It is.